What's poppin', Carolina Nation, all my Pantherologists? Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be on the free agent defensive ends the Carolina Panthers could or should target. So, pound that like button, pound the subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment down below at the end of the video. Let me know what you think. Click that post notifications bell, and let's get into this bad boy. Alright, so, first things first. The Panthers will be looking to add some depth, obviously, along that defensive line this offseason. It wasn't until week 3 when the Panthers registered their first sack of the season, and it was a precursor to the team's pass rushing struggles that lasted nearly the entire year. Now, Brian Burns led the way with 9 sacks, but if all the attention wasn't directed toward him, he could have had a few more. Now, about midway through the season, though, teams started double teaming Burns on a regular basis, making it even more challenging to disrupt the pocket. So the Panthers would love for YGM to develop into a reliable starter, but it all starts with him being able to stay healthy. So the potential is there. It's just going to take, I think, some time. While the Panthers develop YGM, they clearly need to build their depth on the defensive line, and especially on the edge. So today I want to take a look at 4 free agents that the Panthers should probably target. So the first person I want to talk about is Benson Mayowa. He has 24 tackles, 6 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, and that's in 13 games and 9 starts. So earning a starting role at the defensive end spot for the Seahawks out of training camp, Mayowa registered a sack and a key 4th down pass deflection in the team's Week 1 win over the Falcons. But however, he only produced 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits over the next 5 games before suffering a high ankle sprain that cost him 3 games. Once he returned, he split starts with newly acquired Carlos Dunlap and wrapped up the season on a tear, generating 4 sacks and 5 tackles for a loss in Seattle's last 6 games. So he's proven that while he likely isn't a starter in the league, he can be a force as a key rotational pass rusher and should generate some interest in free agency as a result. So Mayowa has been a consistent pass rusher over the last 3 years, averaging just over 5.5 sacks per season. Obviously, he doesn't need to be a double-digit sack producer, but he would give Brian Burns a ton of help. So Panthers GM Scott Fitterer has a connection to him after playing in Seattle this past season and back in 2013. So let's talk about the next person, Brent Urban. He had 36 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 16 games played, 8 starts. Urban took to the coaching from Rodgers and went from a Titans cast-off to a value extra edge who could stop the run while occasionally harassing a quarterback. His pass rush off the edge as Kirk Cousins tried to run a bootleg pass on 4th down helped earn a victory and ultimately a division title. Urban's 6'7" height made it tough at times for passers to throw outside the numbers. So he had 3 tip passes in his 25 games and added 2.5 sacks and 9 pressures. So it's not enough production to make him a highly paid starter somewhere, but he could be just enough to keep him at a pay rate just over what the Bears can afford for a 5th defensive lineman. This is why they will be looking at the interior defensive line later in the draft. Urban played for $1 million last year and has been projected by PFF at about $1.5 million a year in the marketplace. So Urban is the perfect type of free agent for Carolina. He's a veteran that's been in the league for 7 years, but is not going to warrant a big payday. The Panthers don't need to hit a home run with a free agent defensive lineman. They just need to establish quality depth behind their starters, and Urban can do that. Next I want to talk about is Dejuan Smoot. All right, 25 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, 17 quarterback hits, 5.5 sacks, 16 games played, 7 starts. Now, Dejuan Smoot has been a perplexing player for the Jaguars since he was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft. Selected over a lot of other talents along the defensive line, Smoot was taught to be someone you could get later on in the draft. In his rookie season, Smoot didn't contribute much as a rotational piece with what was known as Saxonville at the time. In his 2nd season, he didn't contribute at all. A healthy scratch for half of the season. It wouldn't be until his 3rd and 4th years when Smoot finally clicked as a true pass rusher, as a rotational player as well. He was able to bulk up to nearly 275, 280 pounds and was able to play both interior and exterior defensive line positions. Rushing inside and out as a defensive tackle and edge. He's an intriguing player due to his versatility, but likely would be a scheme-specific fit for any team wanting to acquire his services as a rotational pass rusher. Smoot may not be ready to be a full-time starter just yet, but man, having a player like him sitting behind Burns and YGM would really help Carolina's depth. It also gives, the Panthers some insurance in case YGM or Burns were to miss any time with injury. So he would give very similar production to that of Benson Mayowa. Next, let's talk about Carl Lawson. 36 tackles, he had 5.5 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, 32 quarterback hits. Lawson is coming off the best year of his 4-year NFL career. And in my opinion, the best is yet to come for this guy. He missed some time earlier in his career due to a torn ACL, which set him back a little bit, but he's finally back to being exactly what the Bengals thought he would be when they drafted him out of Auburn back in 2017. Now, it's likely that with the season he just had, that he will be the priciest of all the options that I've listed, but he would be well worth signing. Lawson would cure many of the Panthers' pass rushing issues. So guys, those are my free agent defensive ends I think the Carolina Panthers could or should target. Pound that like button, pound the subscribe button. Comment down below, let me know what you think. Click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on the new raw content. Guys, that's today's video. You know what to do. Keep pounding.